Hey man, how's it going? All right, so I did a video about how freedom destroyed America. So this video is pretty much my video on how capitalism destroyed America. So obviously, with the whole coronavirus thing, a lot of people pretty much having these conspiracies that China is pretty much purposely put that out there. I don't know what the facts are with that. That's just not what this video is about. Okay, but a lot of people are like, bring the jobs, bring the jobs, production, all that stuff, back home to America. You know, because China isn't our friend, etc., etc. This whole thing about globalization. It's been a negative thing for this country, etc., etc. The whole production line, manufacturing, etc., etc. For foreign entities buying up American real estate companies, corporations, etc., etc. A lot of people are pretty much voicing their opinions against that these days because of this whole coronavirus and its effects on this country, shortages in supplies with ventilators and all that stuff. But here's the thing, all right? Here's the thing. Did capitalism actually... This is a capitalistic country, right? I mean, you guys didn't help, you guys didn't put out all those you guys didn't move all the manufacturing from America to China and to other places in the world, Mexico, or wherever else, because you guys were doing that, altruistically. I mean, that wasn't how it worked. Obviously, these companies are making a ton of money off of it. It's capitalism. I'm not an economist, but as far as I know, for a capitalistic society to grow, they need to open up markets. All right? For a capitalistic system to grow, it needs to open up markets. It opened up markets, as many places. The U.S. opened up markets as many places, in the world. Obviously, one of them is China, Mexico, all those places, and they did that through wars. They did that some places through coercion, forcible influence. All right, this wasn't done through some kind of altruistic American helping hand towards these countries. All right, it was done in the name of capitalism. What exists in America today exists as a result of laissez-faire capitalism. Maybe not laissez-faire capitalism, but a pure form of capitalism. What this country was built on. All right, so if you're against that whole globalization drive over the last, 20, 30, 40 years or whatever, you're pretty much against the whole economic system of this country. All right. Now, your problem is that you're okay with the whole pyramid scheme that is capitalism when America's on top of that pyramid. But when some other country, China in particular, found a way to pretty much push, or in the midst of pushing America out of that top spot, America becomes number 2, and everybody, right down the pyramid is looking up at China. you got a problem with that. I mean, that was pretty much the whole evolution of this whole capitalistic system. All right, it wasn't through any kind of altruism from you guys that gave the Chinese that push to the top. That was just entirely capitalism and the evolution of a capitalistic relationship, of China with over 1 billion people, and utilizing that whole entire population to create an economic powerhouse that rivals and probably, I don't know, in near future overtakes America. That was just all capitalism. All right? That was just all capitalism. So for you guys to be anti-globalization, anti-corporations moving their manufacturing production to China, to Mexico, to the east, to wherever, you guys are pretty much saying that capitalism was a failure. It's what you're stating. What you're stating is you don't like capitalism. You are against capitalism. But you were for capitalism for the entirety of the time that America was on top of that pyramid scheme. But now that America is teetering on being pushed from that top spot, you're now saying that capitalism is un-American. That's exactly what you guys are saying, that capitalism is un-American. Which goes, back to my point of this video, that capitalism killed this country. Ironically, capitalism killed this country. Right? I mean, if you think about it in those viewpoints, in that viewpoint, capitalism essentially doomed this country. Because the whole entire switcheroo that's happening right now with China and America, that's all an evolutionary result of the relationship that has existed over the last 30 or 40 years between America and China, but more particularly over the last 25 to 30 years. All right. It is what it is. It is what it is. All right. That was entirely capitalism just mutating to, mutating that relationship between America and China, America and the world, and China and the world. That was just all pure capitalism. That was just all pure capitalism. All right. As far as other countries buying up American land, other countries buying up American corporations, China in particular, but, Saudi Arabia does the same thing, or every other country, foreign country that buys up American properties, that's just all pure capitalism. That was what America was found on, was capitalism. All right? Capitalism to the point where America used humans as slaves to promote the agenda of capitalism for white people, for Europeans, European Americans. All right? That was all pure capitalism. So for you guys to just now come out because of this coronavirus thing and say, you're against China, you're against, American products being made, American products. You're against these American companies making their products overseas, manufacturing being moved overseas, jobs being moved overseas, American jobs being moved overseas, et cetera, et cetera. That's all pure capitalism. I mean, so you are essentially saying that capitalism does not work. It's essentially what you're saying. All right? You're saying capitalism does not work. If another group overtakes us through this system, okay, bring it back. bring it back. But here's the thing. Unfortunately, they're not going to bring it back. All right. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. Capitalism does not work that way. All right. You bring all that stuff back, price is going to rise, quality is going to suffer. You're going to have unions and their issues with these corporations. There's a reason why these jobs, manufacturing jobs, all these jobs went overseas because of those issues. Bringing them back is just going to mess up the whole entire thing. Bringing it back is just anti-capitalistic. It's just anti-capitalism, essentially. So, you're essentially anti-capitalism, anti the philosophy of the whole economic system of the history of this country. Is what you're against. You're pretty much against America. You're pretty much going against the American financial way of life. It doesn't work that way. All right? It's what I'm saying to you guys. It doesn't work. But back to my point is, if America gets toppled from that pyramid scheme, from that capitalistic pyramid scheme, if America gets toppled by it, then what does that mean? That means the very financial system that America pretty much, the whole capitalistic system, and this involves colonization, all that stuff. Let's not go that far, but that means that capitalism, the system, the financial system that the Americans identified with, that existed in this country, is the system that destroyed this country. I mean, think about that. So in my other video, I pretty much put out my points that it's freedom. It's freedom that pretty much destroyed this country over the last 20 years. And in this video, I'm putting out that it's capitalism that's pretty much destroyed this country over the last 20 years. So what do you guys think about that? Tell me if I'm wrong when I'm making these points, because I don't think I'm wrong. All right, they're valid points about how both capitalism and freedom essentially can be overtaken, can have the opposite effect of what am I saying? Help me out, guys. All right, what I'm saying is those two things have pretty much been the bane of this country as far as its survival over the last 20 years. If I'm wrong, leave your comments. Let me know. It's really something to think about if you think about it.